Hi, I have a couple of hours free, so I decided to quickly put together this video, trying to answer one of the most recurring questions. How can you train and practice as a RIO in single player? As you can imagine, not everything can be practiced without a human pilot, but the very basics, namely the switchology or simple procedures, can be effectively trained by yourself. The tool we use is the mission editor, and 3 scenarios will be covered. Basic concepts, simple BVR timeline, target aspect determination. Those scenarios are just a drop in the ocean of the possible situation you can practice. As you can imagine, we start from opening the mission editor, creating a new mission. Coalitions, we can do whatever we want, you can leave them as they are. Now that the map is ready to go, we can select our aircraft. Let's say F-14A, which is of course the coolest. Set an altitude, 20,000 feet. Slow down perhaps a little bit, and now we can click anywhere with the left button to create an additional waypoint. The next step depends entirely on what you want to practice. You can, for example, create a friendly unit and use it as a dummy to practice intercepts without worrying about the fact that the unit will come and engage you. Since we want to start by the basics, one of the most useful exercises is trying to use the radar and the avionics to acquire a target that is switching between different aspects, or maybe between in and out from the zero Doppler filter and the notch. This is done very easily by creating a racetrack or an orbit on a point. Now what we want to do is staying back and observing, so we can use the active pose for that purpose. You may have noticed already that the distance between us and the target is not really changing much, because we're basically standing still in the air. Okay, our dummy has reached the waypoint, and then we start turning. So now what we can observe, we can see how the vector changes. And let's keep an eye on the DDD as well. And boom, it's gone from the DDD. Where is it gone? Well, probably it's notching. If it's notching, we can use the mellow clutter to disable the mellow clutter filter, and there he is again. Now keep an eye on the closure rate, because at some point this target is going to fall into the zero Doppler filter. So it is gone again. Switch the blob clutter off, but it's not appearing. Okay, now it's coming back. It was briefly in the zero Doppler filter. We can have a look at the closure rate now and monitor it. Now the target is notching again, see that it's gone. It disappeared as soon as I turned on the mellow clutter filter again. Can switch it off again. And it's back. So in ground stabilized mode, where we are at the moment, this is like the F-10 view pretty much. It's a God's eye or bird's eye view. This target is about to notch us. So let's monitor the DDD. So with the mellow clutter off, you notice that even if it was notching us, it was there, still there. It didn't disappear. Now let's see what happens with the zero Doppler filter. Let's have a look at the closure. And gone. Okay, clean sheet. Now we practice something a bit more interesting. For example, a timeline. Okay, we need to set our bullseye. Where is the blue one? There it is. Let's put it pretty much anywhere. We're gonna focus on the part on to the north of the bullseye, just to keep the things very simple. Okay, usual F-14, the best one, 20,000 feet, 350. Let's go basically due west, again, for simplicity's sake. Can assign random stuff, copy, paste, switch the other way around. So we practice a simple timeline, so we're not really bothered about the geometry this stage. If you feel bad actually, about employing on a friendly, you can change the collision. So you can come here, switch to bad guys, and that's pretty much it. Now, in this case, there's no preset behavior, but if you select something else, say F-16, there is a cap, already set. This unit is not gonna care about flying from this point to this point. It's gonna come after you. So we delete those. We want basically a dummy. So let's go and set direction to threat nothing. And you can also set anything else you want. And last thing to do is setting as client. And we're good to go. Okay, back in cockpit. Something I usually do is pre-selecting, or pre-assigning actually, master army and other functions to some keys, for example TYU. So in a second I can set up Phoenix. Done. Another useful tip is slowing down time. Alt Z, for example, to slow down. So we have time to set up the nav grid. So I don't want to see where the target is at the moment. So let's go and set up the RIO nav grid. Let's do something simple. We know that the nav grid is south, due south. So 180 and then adding 0. There we go. This is the nav grid set. Here we are, our waypoint. And now radar on, and let's have a look what happens. Let's put time back where it was. Range search. We already have return. We can do, for example, tackward scan to IFF. Now, another tip is lowering the altitude, the elevation, the height of the seat, so you can see it a little bit better. Now, what's the brow of this target? So, when I set the nav grid, I normally have 30 degrees in each sector, so it's easy to read. So this is 0, this is 330, and this is 300. So this should be like 310-ish. Range is up here, is in the second bracket, so it's between 50 and 100, so it's 65, and altitude was 20,000. So what do we know about this target? We know that the alternative angle is pretty much at 0, and is at 50 miles at the moment. We can have a look at the speed as well. It's ground 430, we are around 370, so it's actually faster than us. Okay, where are we going at the moment? We are at the moment is 265-ish. Let's say 265. So our call will be Overlord 911 targeted BRA 265 at 45 miles for 20,000 feet. Next step, 40 miles or no later than 40 miles is MELD. So our wingman, which should be at range search at the moment, knows that he has to focus the radar. So again, if we want to employ at 35, no later than 40, we should call the MELD. Okay, night flight or night 1 flight, MELD. We're a bit late, but it's not bad to watch about it. Can monitor the range from here, 35, deploy, and we we crank. Let's say we go, let's use actually the angles, it's a bit easier. So as you probably know, the crank requires at least 50 degrees of antenna terrain angle. or relative bearing in order to maximize its efficiency. The problem here is we're turning 45 degrees, but since we're not on collision anymore, the target is going to drift. So we need to make sure that the target is not drifting outside the gimbals. And this is especially true for the wingman. As you can see, the turn angle at the moment is 52, 53. Okay, perfect, it's pitbull. So we can skate, and we can call on the radio, for example, Overlord, the 911 pitbull skating west. And the missile is now active. And we are going out. And we got a kill. DCS being DCS. Alright, so that was a very simple example. Okay, for the last example we can practice some geometry for calculating the angles. Usual stuff. Click somewhere, select the best F-14, 20,000, 50, so it's a bit slower. Click somewhere. And now we don't really bother, I mean at this stage or this example we don't want to employ, so we just want to calculate some angles. So we can just copy paste some aircraft, move it somewhere, and there we go. Now the only thing we need to be aware of is the distance. Yeah, okay, it's good. Sometimes happens that you set them up at like 200 miles away. Set it as client, and we're all set. For the first round, it is useful to slow down the time a little bit. We are 355-ish. We know that there's a Mach bar around 5. So let's say we are going adding 0. So piece of paper, we are going 0. First target, let's have a look where it is going. Sorry, there we go. 230. So we can use the +2 - 2 rule. So this will be 050. So reciprocal is 050. Then we need to take into account the antenna train angle, which is 20 right. So we were going to 0 + 20. The bearing is 0 to 0. Now from the reciprocal, so 050 to 0 to 0 is 30 left. So the aspect of the first one is 30 left. Make sense? Second. Okay, he's going 194. We can do the same thing. Again, piece of paper, 194. +2 - 2 rule doesn't really work here. You can do it anyway, but then you have to do module 360. So this will be, for example, 375. 375 module 360 is 15. So reciprocal is 15. Or you can just do 195 minus 180. It works anyway. So 15. And now we need to know the antenna train angle, which is 5. So 0. We were going to 0, so bearing is 005. From 015 to 005, target aspect is 10 left. And now we have a look at the last one. Now there's nothing wrong into just waiting for this number to cycle, but when you're going normal speed and we are not really used to it, it isn't really not enough time. Eventually it is. At the beginning it's better to take it easy. So you can slow down time and use the cap. So 153 is 3, 3, 5. So 3, 3, 5. And then we have a look at the antenna train angle is 10 left. 10 left, so the bearing is 350. From 335 to 350, target aspect should be 5. From 335 to 350, target aspect is 15 right. Now, let's have a look in a different way and let's see if they sort of match. So we said that this one was 15 right, kind of makes sense. The second one is 10 left, again it seems pretty much fine, and 30 left, at least the directions, they're all good. So how do you know if you did everything correctly? Tac view. Minus 27.3, meaning is on the left, and our calculation was 30 left, so it's pretty correct. Let's see the second one. The second one we said is minus 5. Keep in mind that they're actually moving. They were moving. So minus 5, again minus 8. Yeah, pretty okay. Let's have a look at the last one, which is not this one, but this one. This one we said it was 15 right. It's actually 17, but it's pretty accurate anyway. So I hope you enjoyed this very quick look at how we can use the mission editor to practice and get better as the virtual radar intercept officer. If you have any feedback, suggestions, just let me know in the comments.